of money, people will steal from their mother. For the love of money, people will rob their own brother. Woo! 1973, the OJs, one of the greatest groups of all time, and produced by Gamble and Huff, Philly International Records, right? You know, we always get it back to Philly. Anyway, money. Money in the community. Money, when we talk about money, just different things, purchases. I talk to people, we hear about it all the time. I've been through it. You've been through it. You're thinking about this bill you got to pay. You're thinking about that bill you got to pay. You know, you sit up, you can't sleep at night. You toss and turn, listening for the telephone, except you ain't worried about your chick. You worried about that bill collector. I got it. I feel you. I've been there. I'm still there. But when you spend money unnecessarily, you get into almost like chasing yourself. And I think when you're younger, you know, you don't mind doing it. And you say to yourself, hey, look, you know, I'm just going to buy that. I'm going to buy that. I want that. Let me go and get that. And you don't think about it. You say, look, I got $40 to get me to a payday. I'll just go and get somebody to make me a grub or whatever. Or one of my friends, she'll be over. She'll cook something. Or, you know, I'll just take out this frozen chicken I don't had in here for the last half a year, right? You know how we do it as guys. But then you start to get older. And you start to say to yourself, what have I been doing with my money? How have I been spending my money? I want to give a shout out real quick too to my Uncle Harold and my mom, because they're two of the best people that I know that I've grown up with money, as far as in my family. They have definitely been people, if I needed it, I could go to them and get it, because guess what? They're so good at holding on to it and spending it and doing the right things with it. You ever hear somebody say that, like somebody doing the right thing by money? Because we all know, you know, money comes, money goes. And at a certain point, especially when you're younger, you're healthy, you're making money, you could do doubles, triples, you know, and you know how some of y'all are, you know, you still got those jobs where you could do a 16-hour shift and, you know, you up like this for the first one, and then by the second one, you like that, because you know how the job goes. But guess what? You're still getting paid for all 16 hours. But as we get older and as we go, after a while, you get tired of chasing your tail. You get tired of chasing yourself. I remember when I was still working like I always tell you, a traditional job, 9-to-5 job. You know, I would work. I do a double. Let's just say I do a double on Monday. Then Tuesday, maybe a regular day. Then I do a double on Wednesday, double on Thursday. And what I started to see over a period of time, which most of you also know, is that it was like, yo, the tax man was killing me. I was like, I felt like I was working for the government, right? So it was like each extra shift that I would make, instead of making a couple $100s or a few $100s each extra shift, you know, with the time and a half, I was only making, it felt like an additional $50 or $60 after taxes. And these are things that we know, but since we get trained to, all right, I just got to get this couple extra dollars, I just need to make this couple extra dollars, that's what we do. But it's okay to work and work crazy, but you don't want to spend as much as you work. So let's say, for instance, and I know I talked about this a few months ago in the video, but say, for instance, you know, you want to go out and have yourself, we'll just say even $100 dinner. You know, you go out, you take the missus out, or you take your guy out, and y'all go out and y'all just have a dinner, just the two of y'all, not even any kids or anything. And neither one of you get any drinks or anything. And it still comes out to, let's just even say $100. Well, if you're working and if the average person is making, let's just say from an hourly perspective, $20 to $25 an hour, let's just say $25 an hour. You've already given away 4 hours of your work money out of which so out of a 80-hour week, now you're already down to 76 hours. But guess what? When you spend that $100 at dinner, it doesn't include taxes, does it? You see what I'm saying? Because remember, you get paid after taxes. So usually if most people fall into where they have to pay about 33%, once again, I'm no accountant, but you know, most people under 100,000, I think, pay about 33, 37% of their take home in taxes. that $100 has essentially become $70. So now you're paying more than what you actually bought home for a dinner. For $100 dinner, you're actually paying not just $100, you're probably paying about $135 when you figure in the taxes of what you actually brought home. So let me say that again. When you go out for $100 dinner, you're actually paying more, because remember, they're not going to say to you, "Oh, excuse me, here's your check, sir. I know because you worked 4 hours for this, and this is $100 check. But what we're going to do is that because the government took 37% from you, we're going to discount this $100 check into a 30. We're going to take $37 off. So now your tab is only $63. No, the waiter's not doing that. The business isn't doing that. So that's why we have to watch what we're doing. We have to watch how we're spending our money. I was a king of doing dumb stuff, going out, buying overly expensive cars. Had a great time with them, though, I'm not gonna lie. And just doing that, buying overly expensive shoes, sneakers. I did one, we talked about materialism a couple of months ago. You should go check that one out. Talking about addictions, and one of those addictions was, even for me at the time, was materialism. But you get older and you grow, and a part of growing is having knowledge. So, I would read around and look at different stuff. Back in the day, we used to read Men's Health and everything like that. But a lot of times, when you're in that state of mind of spending, you don't think about it. Then I started to watch Dave Ramsey, and then Dave Ramsey was like, "Hey, man, you shouldn't take out a mortgage. You should just buy a whole house, save up as much money as you can, and just give it all to them." And I was like, "Dang, I mean, who got $200,000 saved up in the bank to get a house?" But hey, he still gave some great advice. And part of the advice was, listen, you don't have to, instead of going out buying a $40,000 car, you don't have to do it. But money is a funny thing, right? We go and we chase more of what we want. And the funny thing is that everybody has these wants, but everybody doesn't have the money to pay for these wants. But even still now, I was talking to a buddy today. Shout out to my young boy Robbie. Talking to him today, and we were talking about just how you got people who are getting caught up in 84-month car notes. I believe Nissan started that a little bit after the pandemic. But basically, 84 months, that's 7 years. Like, how many people still want the same car that they're driving at the 7 years? Now, I know I got some people, like my sister, she'll keep a car 10, 12 years. She'll never buy another car. And that's fine. You got some people like that. But most people aren't that lucky to be able to keep a car that long because of an accident, some type of mechanical breakdown, or they're just purely sick of it. They're just tired of it. So financially, let's think about some stuff, and let's talk about some stuff, because see, sometimes we need to have certain knowledge, and that's, of course, even if we are 50 and over, but people who are actually younger than us too. So let's think about it, because this is some stuff. I went on to the Nerd Wallet app, and we'll talk about some more stuff, because I want to continue to have this discussion as far as money, and even in any community that you're in. But I know, especially the community I grew up in, a lot of times, even once people started getting money, we still spend a lot of money on things that we probably shouldn't. And it's a mindset. So this is what Nerd Wallet had to say. If you are between the ages of 35 and 44, you should have total investments and savings of about $141,000. From 45 to 54, which is in my age range, you should have, between savings and investments, $313,000. I'm at least $311,000 off of that. No, just kidding, but I'm nowhere near $313,000. From 55 to 64 years of age, you should have amassed between $537,000. And lastly, because that's where I stopped, from 65 to 74 years of age, you should have amassed, between investments and savings, $609,000. $100,000. Now, we know most people are not there. I know I'm nowhere near there. And although, let's just say, for instance, some of these numbers are inflated, or, they don't seem realistic, or whatever somebody might say. A lot of those things are realistic to get to, because I think about all of the money that I've blown on stupid stuff. Stuff I didn't think that was stupid at the time, but I may think that if I look back on it, that it just probably wasn't the smartest move. All right. And also, I think the biggest thing, even bigger than a lot of times the materialism, is the waste of money that we have. Always eating out. Like now, like I'm telling you, listen, back then, DoorDash, if we had DoorDash and all of that stuff back in the 90s, 2000, DoorDash, Uber, Uber Eats, all that stuff back in the day, people would be dead broke. People would be dead broke. Because it's getting to the point where people are just, think about it like this. Companies do what? What is company's biggest thing? When you see a commercial on the TV, a company's biggest deal is to get you to buy. Come buy me. Come try me on. You'll like me. You'll like this. Think about it. Think about how crazy this is. We will pay $50,000, $100,000 or whatever it is for a car, a Mercedes, right? We'll pay $50,000, $100,000 for a car that says Mercedes-Benz on the back, right? It doesn't even say car tender on the back. Nobody would care, right? It doesn't say your name on the back. It doesn't say my name on the back. It literally is a Mercedes-Benz emblem on the back and on the front. So you get the privilege of paying $100,000 to drive somebody else's name that you've never met around town, and it's a status symbol. So for $100,000, let me give you the right to ride around with a car with my name on it. Now, of course, we know Mercedes is a great car. It's a very luxurious car. It's even become a lot more of a sporty car. But just to give you the gist of what I'm saying. So think about it. How much money do you have saved up? How much money you got in your 401k? How much money do you have in your checking account? Because you, just like me, we might have to reevaluate how we look at money. Because when you look at money in a bad way, it's going to look back at you in a bad way. And it's going to say, hey, you remember, like as I've said before, you ever have Ben Franklin and he's sitting around and he's just like, are you sure that you're going to spend me? You sure? You sure you don't want to hold on to me? And you say, well, Ben, I got to let you go, man. Who's going to pay for this dinner? She's not. Who's going to pay for this dinner, man? Okay. Hopefully I'll see you again, my friend. I'm going to the upper room. Hopefully I'll see you again, my friend. And he's gone. Just like that. Straight like that. But hey, y'all tell me what you think. Do you think that people are spending too much money on all the wrong things? Sure you do. And a lot of times it's you. A lot of times it's me. How can we do better? How can we get to those goals, those things I was talking about, as far as how much we should have saved by a certain point in our lives? So, but while you think about that, right, I want you to just remember, live life. Don't let life live you.